Hello, people. Good to be here and welcome to Quote Tasting. This is a broadcast especially designed to feed your faith, to elevate your understanding, and the understanding of the world around us, which we call reality, so that you can become the person you have the potential to be. See, the Bible says that the genesis of transformation is happening in the mind. It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your mind is this awesome faculty at our disposal that is at the effect of the information it is fed. It is at the effect of the information which is fed. Yet our mind is also the origin of the life you experience on a daily basis. So your mind is vulnerable and yet powerful. So we need to be very careful and selective about what we are feeding our mind. Jim Rohn, one of my favorite personal growth mentors, would say, you can't live on mental candy. So with quote tasting, I give you a format here on YouTube where I introduce you to high quality mental nourishment. I expose you to information that has the potential to renew your mind and to transform your life. Would you be interested? See, let me tell you a little bit more about quote tasting, where I got the name from. I worked in the specialty coffee industry for a couple of years, and we were treating the coffee like a fine wine because it's very similar to coffee. Is very similar to wine. So we would conduct these coffee tastings, blind coffee tastings, in order to understand the coffee that we were tasting, the coffee variety and the components, and also the effect of the origin, that not just the country, but also even the hillside. You can have one variety growing over there and the same variety over here, and they would taste completely different. So we were trying to understand the coffee. What are the variables that influence the taste of coffee, and how can we get rid of defects that we were tasting, and how can we manipulate the coffee bean, obviously, so that we can increase quality and exhibit its unique qualities. So I took this coffee tasting into personal growth, and now we're doing quote tasting. So I approach quote tasting just the same way. I want to figure out the components of each quote we will be looking at, and you are also invited to taste with me, to interact with me. So there's the obvious. Please subscribe to my channel and the social media, which I've linked underneath the video. Don't forget to like the video. This way you help me to deliver this information to even more people and to let YouTube know that this video contains valuable information. So this is really a great help, and thank you if you do so. But there is another way of how you can interact with me. And if you are into personal growth, or you came across a great quote where you want to know my take on it or my spin on it, then please share that quote with me. And right now, there is a high probability there that I'm going to do a video on it. So yes, that was the introduction. What is today's quote? Today's quote is by Wayne Dyer, and he says, loving people live in a loving world. Hostile people live in a hostile world. It's the same world. Again, loving people live in a loving world. Hostile people live in a hostile world. It's the same world. Wow. What do you think comes first? The loving world or the loving people? Does the world affect the people, or do the people affect the world? You know, this quote makes us think about the nature of reality and the relationship we have with the world around us. I want to dive deeper in what the quote says at the end. It says, it's the same world. So there's one world where there are different perceptions of the world. In our quote, we have the loving people and we have the hostile people. They are both looking at the same reality, yet their experience of this reality is different. How can that be? One says life is beautiful, the other says life sucks. How can it be that we live in the reality? How can it be that we live in one reality, but we come to different conclusions about this one reality? And now this is really important. Many say that, well, the circumstances between both people may be different. You know, maybe the one grew up in a poor environment and the other grew up in a rich family. That would be saying that circumstance determines our disposition towards life. And although many people choose to live like this, it is actually not the case. Human beings can alter their circumstances by altering themselves. A relative, just to give you an example, a relative of a friend of mine is an alcoholic and partially actually living on the streets. And not always, but for some time he lived on the streets. And he has a brother who is a very successful entrepreneur who built up a company from the ground up. So you can say that both had more or less the same soil in which they were planted. And yet the one grew up to be an alcoholic and the other a successful entrepreneur. How can that be? Does the soil matter to the seed? Yes, it does. Does it influence the growth of the plant? Yes, it does. Does it also determine the fruitfulness of the tree? No, it doesn't. And the good thing is, again, a quote by Jim Rohn, you know, we're not trees, you know, we can move. So if you find yourself in a soil which doesn't suit your growth, which doesn't give you the nourishment that you need in order to grow, then well, choose another soil. You know, you can go somewhere. You're not stuck in one place. But return to what I wanted to share. Circumstances, the reality around us, the soil in which we are planted is a contributing factor, but it is not a determining factor. So, one second. So it's not a determining factor. How you experience your life is determined by your inner disposition towards life. You choose the lens you wear to look at life. Love or hate, it's a choice. Let's take a different example to make it more clear. If you choose to look at life through the lens of I can't, then this is what you will see. Reality is merely a mirror of your inner self. It will mirror back to you what you have chosen on the inside. So instead, if you choose to look at life through the lens of I can, well, guess what? And this is where life gets really, really exciting. You know, if you choose the lens of I can, the reality you experience will mirror back to you what you have chosen on the inside. So stop complaining about life. Stop trying to change the picture you see in the mirror. All you need to do is to alter your inner life, to alter yourself. So if this speaks to you, please leave a like or a comment underneath the video. to affirm the truth and express that you are on board to transform your life by the renewing of your mind. So this was my take on Wayne Dyer's quote, loving people live in a loving world, hostile people live in a hostile world. It's the same world. Take care and see you next time.